Welcome to the Forsyth County Schools mandated reporter training for identifying and reporting suspected child abuse and neglect. The objectives of this presentation are to inform school staff of common indicators of abuse and neglect, learn about the law mandating reports, and the procedure for reporting suspected abuse. There are 5 types of child maltreatment that we will discuss: physical abuse, neglect, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and child endangerment. Physical abuse occurs when a child suffers a non-accidental injury, which may include severe beatings, burns, fractures, bruises, welts, or other physical injuries. Physical indicators of physical abuse may include unexplained marks that may be formed in a cluster or regular pattern indicating repeated blows, or unexplained burns that may appear following time away from school. Corporal punishment is not prohibited in Georgia as long as it is not excessive and does not result in marks or injuries. Neglect occurs when a caretaker allows a child to experience avoidable suffering or fails to provide basic essentials for physical, social, and emotional development. Physical indicators of neglect may include poor hygiene, dirty or inappropriate clothing for the weather, consistent hunger, unmet medical needs, and inconsistent or lack of appropriate supervision, especially for prolonged periods of time or when the child is engaging in potentially dangerous activities. Behavioral indicators of neglect may include begging for or stealing food, extended stays at school such as early arrival and late departure, listlessness or falling asleep in class, inappropriate seeking of affection, assumption of adult responsibilities or concerns, drug and alcohol abuse, delinquency, and reports that there's no caretaker. The DFAC's guidelines around supervision state that children ages 8 and younger may not be left alone. Children from 9 to 12, based on their level of maturity, may be left alone for brief periods of 2 hours or less. Children 13 and older who are of an adequate level of maturity may be left alone and may perform the role of babysitter with the consent of a parent for up to 12 hours. Emotional abuse is a pattern of caretaker behaviors that places undue emotional distress on a child. It can include unreasonable demands on a child to perform above his or her capabilities, using verbally abusive language, rejection, harsh criticism, shameful forms of punishment, or withholding physical or emotional contact. Physical indicators can include delays in physical or emotional development and communication disorders. Behavioral indicators of emotional abuse can include habit disorders such as rocking or sucking, behavioral extremes such as aggression or withdrawal, developmental delays, delinquent behaviors, or substance abuse. Sexual abuse is any act performed with a child or to a child for the sexual stimulation or gratification of an adult or an older child. This can include contact forms of sexual abuse, such as kissing, fondling, inappropriate touching, or penetration. Non-contact forms of sexual abuse can include exposure to pornography, exhibitionism, voyeurism, using a child to produce pornography, or communicating with a minor in a sexual manner by phone or internet. Physical indicators could include difficulty walking or sitting, discomfort in the genital area, chronic urinary tract infections or pain with urination, and chronic headaches or stomach aches. Behavioral indicators of a sexually abused child may include inappropriate or advanced sexual knowledge, play or promiscuity, and drawing sexualized pictures. Also, an unwillingness to change for gym or participate in PE class, or trouble sleeping or wetting the bed could be indicators. Other indicators include being overly protective of siblings, lack of emotional control ranging from withdrawal and depression to unexplained anger and rebellion, or self-destructive behaviors such as substance abuse or running away. 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused by their 18th birthday. 90% of children who are victims knew their abuser prior to the abuse. The commercial sexual exploitation of children, or CSEC, is of growing concern in the Atlanta area as it is a hub for human trafficking. Indicators that a child may be a victim of domestic minor sex trafficking are similar to those of a child who has been sexually abused, but it may also include sexually explicit profiles on social media, history of truancy or running away, or a lack of supervision in their free time. It is estimated that 70 to 90% of victims were previously victims of sexual abuse. Family risk factors include lack of supervision or support, domestic violence, and parental substance abuse. Child endangerment should be reported to the Department of Family and Children Services and potentially include law enforcement if the reporter becomes aware that a child has witnessed or heard domestic violence between individuals living in the home, if the child has been a passenger in a car while the adult driver was under the influence of alcohol or drugs, if the child has been present in a meth lab, or lastly, if you are aware of prenatal abuse of any controlled substance, or the chronic severe use of alcohol by a pregnant woman that resulted in negative effects for the newborn. All school employees and volunteers are mandated reporters, both in their role at school as well as in the community. These individuals are required by law to report or cause a report to be made to DFACS of any situation in which there is a reasonable cause to believe that a child has been maltreated. Mandated reporters should report child maltreatment immediately and no later than 24 hours. For the purposes of reporting to DFACS, a child is considered anyone between the ages of birth up to age 17. Reporters have the right to confidentiality, and they are protected by law if the report is made in good faith. Mandated reporters can be held liable if they do not report suspected abuse, with possible results including a misdemeanor conviction, $1,000 fine, or up to 12 months imprisonment. Disciplinary charges and/or a loss of employment could also occur. When a child discloses abuse or neglect, be sure to find a private place to speak with the child. Listen openly and calmly. Children may disclose maltreatment in a variety of ways. They may give an indirect hint, seek advice about helping another student, or disclose with strings attached, such as insisting you do not tell another adult. Reassure the child that you hear what he is saying and that you are glad he told you. Do not ask the child why questions, and do not investigate by asking for details beyond what the student freely shares. Using leading questions or extra questioning from school staff could influence the child and hinder or weaken a legal case and place the child at further risk. Write down the facts using the child's exact words as the child has stated them. Forsyth County Schools requires school employees and volunteers to immediately inform school counselors or administrators when maltreatment is suspected. It is always best to personally speak with that person when forwarding the concern, rather than leaving or sending a message. In the unlikely event that you're unable to reach the proper staff when a concern of maltreatment exists, due to it being after school hours, over a break, or other extenuating circumstances, mandated reporters are not exempt from ensuring a report is made. DFACS reporting line can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 1-855-GA-CHILD. In the event you have to make a report outside of school hours, be sure to inform an administrator or counselor as soon as you are able. Following a report to the Department of Family and Children Services, or DFACS, an investigator with Child Protective Services may explore the situation further. On occasion, a parent or guardian will contact school employees insisting they know the school has made a report. If this happens, you can simply state the school cannot confirm or deny possible reports to DFACS, and encourage the parent to contact DFACS with any questions. There may be times that a report will be necessary to protect a student who is legally an adult, but may not have the capacity to meet their own basic needs due to developmental delays, medical conditions, or other circumstances. For these vulnerable students, age 18 and older, a report may be made to Adult Protective Services at 866-552-4464. Our role in recognizing, reporting, and preventing child abuse is critical, as we are often the first line of defense for children. Early identification of abuse and neglect allows sooner intervention when a family's problems may be more readily resolved. Through identifying child maltreatment, you can help make a difference in a child's life by ensuring a family receives the support they need.